Welcome back to the Kentuckiana Hoops Podcast. I'm Noah Bernstein.
And I'm Cole Thompson.
Today our guest on the Kentuckiana Hoops Podcast is Coach Austin Sparrow. He's the head coach at the University of Campbellsville-Harrodsburg. Coach Sparrow was a player at Mercer County and got into coaching as a student assistant at Lindsey Wilson and then jumped on as an assistant for the Pioneers, where he was shortly after named the interim head coach last September, and since then has gotten the interim tag removed.
Hello?
Hey, Coach, this is Cole Thompson. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. Let's get this thing kicked off. So, Coach, if we were to take you out on the golf course and play 18 holes with you, what are you going to shoot?
Well, I just moved into a new condo, new apartment, and it's actually on a golf course. So I've been able to have a lot of time this summer to relax and play some rounds. So I'd say I'm still probably in the low 80s.
That's pretty good.
That is impressive. Way better than what I'd shoot.
Yeah, I've actually had a lot of time to play. We have a golf resort here in Harrodsburg. It's called Bright Leaf Golf Resort.
We might have to make a trip up there and play around with you.
We definitely need to. I've finally got to the point where consistently hitting some birdies, consistently hitting some eagles on some holes that I know really well. So
that's great.
Well, right now you're the person to beat for all of our guests at low 80s. We had Coach Robert Amos on yesterday, and he said he would shoot in the low 90s. So you're the person to beat.
Well, that's awesome. I should be if I live on a golf course.
For those who don't know, you played at Mercer County while in high school. What kind of player were you?
To be straightforward, I was a role player. We had a lot of talent on my high school team. Played with future Mr. Basketball, Trayvon Faulkner, when he was in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. Also played with Will Hager, who went on to Colorado School of Mines, played at Center College. And then there's a couple other guys. Malik Dow ended up going to Georgetown, won a national championship with them. So we had a lot of talent on our team. And my role was pretty much to play defense on the best player. And I took that role, and it was a great opportunity to learn, that I can influence the game by not just scoring, not just having the ball in my hands, but facilitating, getting my teammates open in offense, and really just locking up and trying to limit the other team's best player every game. And I really enjoyed it.
So defense, that was your go-to.
Yes, defense was definitely my go-to. I played for Coach Josh Cook, who's now at George Rogers Clark. He came to me at the beginning of the year and pretty much said, we've got all the tools to make it to the regional finals, regional tournament. And I told him, I said, I'll do whatever it takes. And he said, I need somebody that's willing to play defense every single game and pretty much just own that role. And I took that role, and it got me the opportunity to actually play in college and to become a student assistant at Lindsey Wilson for my final 2 years of my career.
So is that something you look for in a player when you're recruiting now? Like a guy who's willing to guard at all times?
Oh, yes. I love, players that are multi-dimensional. If you can shoot the three, that's great. But if you're getting us three on the offensive end and you're giving up three consistently on the defensive end, on our system and in the system of basketball, you're a zero. So we definitely pride ourselves in recruiting guys that can play defense, can guard multiple positions, that like to harass the ball. We play a lot of man-to-man at CU Harrodsburg, and sometimes we'll go to a more Syracuse. We have our triangle, which is a 1-2, 1-1, more of a diamond press, and then we have our Syracuse half-court 2-3 that we play sometimes, but it's still matchup principles, and we still try to get after it and harass the balls. We don't want anybody to be comfortable on defense.
That's awesome. So I actually play at Ballard, and so one of your guys, Antoine Darby, is one of the best on-ball defenders I've ever seen. What can you say about him and his ability to defend?
We've got a lot of great ball defenders, and Twan is definitely one of them. In the Mid-East Conference, which is the conference that we're in, he actually led the conference in steals per game this past year. So that was a great accomplishment for him, as well as he was also probably one of the, I think, top 10, top 5. I think he was top 5 in the country in steals per game. And a lot of his steals surprisingly come, when he's guarding the ball. A lot of times, he'll shoot the gaps and get some deflections and steals that way, but he's a really good on-the-ball defender, and he gets a lot of turnovers that way too.
Okay. And, Coach, to get more into your coaching career, so who were your idols as you were growing up, your coaching idols?
Well, when I was growing up, when I was younger, I really took after my father. My dad was the coach at the time. He coached at Covington Holmes in northern Kentucky. He coached at Mercer County with me. He's coached at Anderson County and a couple other places. And he was one of my idols. I really looked up to him, how he could relate to all of his players. The systems that he ran, fast, aggressive on defense, pushing the ball on offense. And there was a couple other guys around that area of the state. John Hunley, I think he's at Louisville Eastern now. He was an idol that I had in KHSA on the men's side growing up at Covington Holmes. And, I've had the opportunity to be coached by 4 high school coaches when I was in high school. And, I'm really close with Josh Cook. He's a mentor of mine now, as well as Chris Souter, who was at Mercer County with our girls program, who's now at South Laurel. He's a mentor of mine. I look up to him a lot. At the college level, I love Jay Wright. His system, the way that he does things, as well as John Calipari. I love his ability to relate and recruit. He does a great job of upholding the standard that he's created at Kentucky. And I really like the way that Rick Pitino coached when he was at Louisville. Very fast, aggressive on defense. You can argue that that's when Louisville had its best defensive teams. I'm a very defensive-minded coach. So that's one of the definitely things when I'm going and watching a game at the high school level. I look for defense. I look for guys that are pressuring the ball. I look for guys that love to play defense because it's the hardest part of the game. If you can play defense, at the high school level and play it very well, there's always a role for you at the college level.
So what is it like growing up in Harrodsburg and now you're the coach at the local college program and growing it?
Harrodsburg, Kentucky is obviously where I'm from, and I love my hometown. There's a lot of pressure that comes involved with it. It's just natural of wanting to succeed and wanting to win and create a program and a tradition of excellence. We're in our 3rd year, about to conclude our 3rd year, going into our 4th year this next season of having a men's basketball team, and it'll be my 2nd season. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to seeing the growth in our guys, the growth in our program. The community has supported us tremendously. There's been a lot of local scholarships that have been available through Harrodsburg, different businesses, those different types of things. The expectation of the fans when they come, is very positive. It's a very positive environment. Super excited to see our guys hopefully come back to campus, get back involved with the community because they love the community just as much as I do. And the community has really done a good job of, including and really taking ownership of our team. There's been 4 or 5 times that we've been out to dinner as a team, and local businessman will stop by, shake my hand, pay for dinner. And having those different types of connections really gives that home feel and that identity to our program, and really allows our guys to take pride in Harrodsburg and what the people do for them on a daily basis. I really love coaching in Harrodsburg because of the connections, and if I have difficulty as a coach, and obviously I'm from the state of Kentucky, so I've recruited so many Kentucky kids this year. It's almost like we're taking on an identity of, there's good basketball in Kentucky and more colleges and more coaches in the state at the college level. I really think that they're missing some really talented kids. that could play at the NAIA level, that could play at the Division II level. And, we've recruited right there with Kentucky Wesleyan. We've recruited right there with Kentucky State, with Louisville. We've recruited with Center College and Asbury all year long. So Harrisburg is a great destination, and it's going to continue growing. And we've definitely taken some steps forward this past year. We're looking forward to take a couple more steps forward next year, and continue to develop our program and give our program the identity that we want it to have.
I like that. Another thing is, you guys are going to have 5 guys who are playing or who played high school basketball at Ballard. What do you like about the guys that come out of Ballard, and what makes it such a good place to recruit from?
First off, Coach Renner, he's hands down, one of the best coaches in the state of Kentucky. And, he really grooms his players to play at the next level, helps them academically, athletically. Ballard, obviously, being in Louisville gives them such an advantage because Louisville basketball is great basketball. No matter what high school it is, there's a lot of great talent in Louisville. So the guys at Ballard are consistently playing against some of the best talent in the state. And that competitive edge that comes from playing with the best players in the state and wanting to prove themselves really helps at our level with having a brand new program. We're still trying to prove ourselves. So we definitely love the mentality, and we're looking forward to continue to recruiting some players that are coming out of Ballard. I think we've got Tyron and Tyrese Duncan, the twins. Both of those guys are excellent guards. Tyrese has developed into probably one of the best shooters in our conference. Tyron runs the show. He's our showstopper at the point guard. He does a good job of communicating with the guys everything that I want to accomplish and get done during a game and what I want to do offensively and defensively. Twan is, a defensive stopper. He can shoot the ball really well. We've got Terrence McDaniels coming in from this past year at Ballard. Super excited to have him. I think he's going to be able to contribute at a high level. And then we also have Carryon Douglas from IUS coming down for this next season, which he's going to be probably one of our first significant transfers for the program. So it's good to see that we're not only getting freshman talent, but we're getting transfers that really want to come back home, closer to home, with some of their friends and make an impact at our level.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you were kind of talking about your 2020 recruiting class with Terrence and with Carryon, but you had a big class. What are you expecting from the guys in the 2020 class next year and for their careers?
Right now with our program, this past season I didn't have any seniors on our varsity roster. So we were probably one of the youngest teams in the entire NCCAA. And this next season, we're going to go from being one of the youngest teams to probably one of the oldest teams. We'll have 4 seniors coming back this next year, and then as well as 13 juniors. So this freshman class was really important to me, and the 2021 class is going to be really important to our program to continue to bring talent in because that junior class that we have is so heavy, loaded with a lot of the talent that we have, and obviously adding Carryon Douglas to that junior class. We're going to have a lot of guys graduate in 2 years, and we're looking for this 2020 class and the 2021 class to kind of take over and continue to push the program forward. There's going to be a lot of opportunities, these next 2 years for these next 2 classes to get involved and to have senior leadership. I think that's something that our program has been lacking because of how new it's been. Being able to have guys that have been there, have done that. They came in at 155 pounds and they put on 20 pounds of muscle by the time they were seniors. Being able to help those guys develop and learn good habits. That's the biggest thing, is having guys that are able to communicate and lead this 2020 and 2020 class, and we definitely have that now. So I think our program's going to make leaps and bounds from last year. I'm really impressed with our ability to recruit the state. I thought it would be a little bit more difficult with where our program was standing and not being an NAIA program right now at this moment and not being an NCAA program. We're definitely going to look forward to continuing to recruit the 2020 class or 2021 class. We're probably finished with our 2020 class. We got a lot of kids from Louisville this past season. Trent Finley from Seneca. He's an excellent player. Super excited that it worked out that he's going to come to Harrisburg and play next year. Obviously, like I said before, Terrence McDaniels, super talented. He's definitely going to be able to get to enjoy a little bit more of the spotlight this next season. We've got C.J. Ward from Fairdale coming in as well. He's another Louisville kid, originally from Chicago. I'm super excited to see what he can do and how he can contribute. Carryon Douglas transferring in. We've got a couple kids from a place in Kentucky. It's called the Galilean Christian Academy, and they do not play in the KHSA. They are an NACA, National Athletic Christian Association, high school program, and they're kind of a mission program. They've got a lot of kids from overseas. We've got 3 of their students that are going to come play for us next year. Caleb Burrows, Reagan Roberts, and Jamal Piper. And all 3 of those young men are coming off winning the national championship at their level. So I'm super excited to really bring in some more winners and some true competitors. So we've got a couple other guys that are out of out of Lexington. Anthony Tabor from Woodford County, another great guard across the state. Nikhir Joyce and Amari Faulkner from Bourbon County. So that's rounding out our recruiting class for 2020. Super impressed with it. I think that these guys are definitely going to have the ability to continue to shape our program. They're going to have the ability to definitely learn at the JV level for some of them, and some of them are going to have the opportunity to contribute their freshman year at the varsity level. So that's something that our program can offer that not a whole lot of other programs in the state can offer.
So you already kind of talked about defense a little bit. What else do you look for when putting together your recruiting class?
We've got 4 pillars at CU Harrisburg. And our institution is a Christian institution, so we lead off our first pillar is faith. We are a faith-based university, an institution, and we definitely take a lot of pride when the guys get here in developing their faith as young men. And the second is family. We look for guys that are definitely going to continue to elevate our culture. I always talk with people. We want our culture at CU Harrisburg to influence and be such a positive culture and such a great learning environment for players whenever they come in, that our culture influences them, that their culture won't influence our program. The third thing is we've got education. I look for guys that it's a big responsibility when you go from high school to college, being able to manage your classes, managing your time, managing having practice. We want guys that are able and capable of doing that on their own, but as well as being able to offer the different tools that they need to continue to be successful with the tutors, study hall. We have mandatory study hall each week that we've got to do. We do grade checks. We do the best that we can to make sure that they sustain a great education. And then the last one the pillar we look for is obviously their athletic and basketball abilities. When we look for in athletic and basketball abilities, we play flat. We play really fast at our level, and we're going to continue to try to play a little bit faster this next year. I think we can get more possessions, but we play really fast. We play a traditional kind of 5-out set. So we like athletic guys that can get to the rim, that can shoot the ball and facilitate. I really look for at our level. You don't have to be 6'8". You don't have to be 6'4" at a guard position. You don't have to be 7 foot to play center. If you can play fast and if you can do what you do really, really well, we're going to find you. We're going to find an opportunity and a spot on our roster. And I think all the guys that we're bringing in this 2020 class, they do what they do really well. They don't try to do too much. They don't try to overtake. In some games, it's one of the things that I really like about our recruiting class is they're all humble young men, and they're all going to be able to contribute this next year at a really high level. So that's kind of what we look for at CU Harrisburg in our recruiting classes.
Okay, and let's dive deeper into a little bit about next season. So last year you played at a D1 McNeese State. So I know this upcoming season, you have a couple more you're going to play. So tell us of who you're going to play and what do you expect?
So our schedule this past season, we had the opportunity to play 3 Division II schools, 2 Division III III schools and two Division I schools. We actually got the opportunity to play McNeese State and Nicholls State in Louisiana. And every year that the program has been in effect we've had the opportunity to go down there to Louisiana and play them in 2 exhibition games. And I'm happy to announce we're going to be able to do that again this next year, as well as we're looking to also add a 3rd Division I game to our programs next year with Purdue-Fort Wayne. It has not been finalized yet because of the coronavirus, but we're looking to finalize that with them, have 3 Division I opportunities that not many other programs can say they have those opportunities, and not being an NCAA program. But we play in the NCCAA, the Mid-East region of the NCCAA, and to me, the Mid-East region is probably one of the toughest regions in the NCAA. We play teams like Boyce College, Simmons College, both out of Louisville. We play 2 colleges out of Michigan, Great Lakes and Grace Christian, which are the defending and national champions in the entire NCCAA. So our conference is kind of like the Mid-South of the NAI. Really competitive each night. We've got 2 teams out of Tennessee as well, Welch College and Johnson University, that will be playing all home and away. We've got some other great opportunities this next season. We're going to do a home and away with Alice Lloyd College, and that's going to be a super good it's going to be a super great opportunity for our program to get some in-state exposure, as well as playing some teams like Kentucky Wesleyan. We've got an opportunity to go play at Kentucky Wesleyan this year. They've got a couple guys that we missed out on recruiting, so we're super excited to play some more in-state talent that's going to be at Kentucky Wesleyan. And we finish off our season with 5 home games. So that's going to be super, super nice to finish our schedule this year. This past season, we spent 19 games on the road. So it's going to be nice to finish this season with a good equally balanced schedule in 5 games at home. So I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. So, Coach, what are your next steps? Do you plan on staying for a couple of years, or are you going to try to move up the ranks some?
I would love to stay in Harrodsburg and to continue to develop the program. Something I've always considered is I want to coach at the highest level and have the highest impact that I could possibly have. Campbellsville-Harrodsburg has done everything that they possibly can to make sure that I am at home here in home, and they've done a great job of helping our program continue to succeed, helping our program to continue to develop. And I think there's something about this place that has really intrigued me, and I'm really looking forward to continue to stay and continue to grind and develop this program into a program that can be respected across the entire state as well as the country. We've got the ability, we've got the athletes, we've got the exposure now with multiple different platforms that our games are able to be viewed on. I really think that our program these next couple of years can take off, and as well as my coaching career. I think it's all up to me and how well I can coach these young men and how well I can mold them, how good that we can possibly be. I really would like to eventually get to the point where I can coach at a larger school. But I'm looking forward to leaving a legacy here at CU Harrodsburg that I can respect, that the community can respect. So that's kind of where I stand as far as my career.
Oh, yeah, I like that. So since you've got the interim tag removed, what's been the biggest difference from being the interim head coach to now the head coach?
Previously when I was an interim, there was a lot of uncertainty of if I was coming back. Obviously there's a lot more paperwork included whenever you're the head coach compared to an assistant, as well as trying to create a staff that is going to be able to help you and guide you along the way. Making sure that you rely on your mentors. Also, a lot of other high school coaches that I get advice from about players. So really excited for this next season. There's a lot of different things that we can do better with our player performance. I think that's one of the biggest things that we're going to try to improve on. When I was an assistant coach, I had the opportunity to practice. To practice with the guys and to do one-on-one workouts, and I had the time and the opportunities to do that. As a head coach, there's a lot more that's involved. You're involved in the day-to-day paperwork, the finances, and those different types of things. Making sure that the guys are staying on their academic success tracks, and making sure that their medical files and everything is taken care of with our athletic trainer. And so I'm looking forward to, hopefully, when the coronavirus breaks down and we can open things back up in Kentucky with basketball gymnasiums and university gymnasiums. I'm looking forward to having some time to get back into the player development cycle and get my hands dirty, get down there and working some guys out.
A couple questions to end it off. What is one thing you do to make sure you are always learning and getting better and trying to improve as a coach?
The one thing that I've tried to do, and I found a lot of success doing, is basketballcoach.com, which is powered by Championship Production, and the NABC Championship Basketball webinar series has probably been one of the biggest and most helpful tools for myself. They do free, if you create an account, they've been doing a lot of free presentations by other coaches. So I just try to do as much professional development online, watching videos on different offenses, different defenses, different coaches' philosophies, and kind of just stealing things that other coaches do and that they do well, and trying to replicate that stuff here in Harrodsburg. I think it's going to be a great season this next season. One of the biggest things that I can say for, a coach that is young, just like I am, and, maybe not had the opportunities that I've had, because I've been very blessed with the opportunities that I've had, is just to keep grinding, just to keep working. There's going to be opportunities come your way, and whatever opportunity that you have at the moment, make the most of it then. That's the biggest thing that I've found is, if you're an assistant, if you're a GA, if you're a head coach, whatever opportunity that you have in the moment is the most important opportunity. Not the next opportunity, but the opportunity that you have at the moment.
I 100% agree with you. And to end it off, Coach, our last question is, if someone came in to watch your practice, what's one thing you want them to take away?
I'd say the one thing that I'd want them to take away, if someone came in and watched our practice, is, at our level, we do a lot of different statistical breakdown of our practices. I've got my managers that make sure that they statistically track a lot of different things. Is that, we do that stuff. We track as much as we can during practice and during games. But the biggest thing for our practices is I want people to know that we get after it every single day. We get in the gym, and my guys, they love the game of basketball, and a lot of them weren't heavily recruited, so they've got a chip on their shoulder. And our practices are very intense. They're very hard, very well organized. We take a lot of time in preparing for practices. We're actually starting our preseason preparation coming up these next couple of weeks. So, that's the one thing that I would want them to know, is that is if you're coming to see Harrodsburg to watch a practice, you're going to see an intense practice, but you're going to see a lot of statistical analysis as well. But the biggest thing is, those stats don't matter if your players aren't going game speed, because the stats are going to change based on if, in a game, if they're not going as hard as they do in the practice, those aren't accurate statistics.
That is true. Well, Coach, we really appreciate your time and joining us on the podcast today, and we look forward to following your journey and your team's success.
Oh, I appreciate you guys having me, and go Pioneers.
That is right. That is right. All right, have a good one, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Kentuckiana Hoops podcast today. Be on the watch for us to drop 2 more next week on Monday and Friday.